exercise. Now, we're following up from last class where we were solving one-step equations. And if we look at our objectives, it says, by the end of this lesson, students will be able to define a linear equation, identify inverse operations, and solve one-step linear equation using inverse operations. Let's read equations. An equation is a mathematical statement using an equal sign. It tells us that two expressions are equal. We can look at the examples, the example that we have. 2x plus 1 is equal to 4. The expressions are equal to one another. If we look on the left side, we see 2x plus 1. On the right side, we see the number 4. So we know that equal sign is saying that 2x plus 1 is equal to 4. We need to know. In algebra, we deal with expressions and we deal with equations. Look at 4d minus 6. And we notice the answers there. It says it's an expression. Why is it an expression? An expression do not have an equal sign, right? We have an expression with how many terms? 2 terms. A variable term, 4d, and a constant term, 6. Look at B. 3x is equal to 6. Is that an equation? Yes, it is. How do we know? We see the equal sign. C, 3b. Is it an expression or an equation? It is an expression. D, a divided by 6. A divided by 6 is also an expression. There is no equal sign. And E, y divided by 2 plus 3 is equal to 7. And we can see that it's an equation. Now let us see, what is a linear equation? Any equation that has a variable raised to the first power or to the power of 1 when graphed forms a straight line. Linear comes from the word line. So when we have an equation like the ones you worked with before, we say they are linear equations because if we graph them, we will get a straight line. Identifying linear equations. A linear equation may have 1 or 2 variables. The variables can only have exponent or an exponent of 1. They cannot be squared or cubed or be negative. Let's learn about inverse operation. What do we mean by inverse? Inverse is another word for opposite. And so if we are working with inverse operations, it means whatever is done, we will always do the opposite if we are finding the inverse. What will happen? We have a balance in front of us. And we know when you started equations last week, you were told that we have to keep, it's like a balance. We must maintain that balance in order to keep our equation. What will happen if you add or subtract an equal amount of weight on both sides of the scale? They will remain balanced. Solving equations is like balancing scales. We must always keep the sides equal. Now, let's look at some inverse operations. When we perform the opposite of the operation, we balance the equation. With what we do on one side to isolate the variable, we also do on the other side. And so we have some inverse, a little table there with the inverse operation. It says if the operation is addition, then the inverse would be subtraction. If the operation is subtraction, its inverse will be addition. If the operation is multiplication, the inverse is going to be division. If the operation is division, then its inverse will be multiplication. Now, I know we're not working with square numbers, but if the operation, if a variable or a number is squared, that is, it is to the second power, the inverse of that will be to find the square root of that number. Now let's watch and learn how to solve.
Welcome to Math with Mr. J. In this video, we're going to discuss how to solve one-step equations. And as you can see, there are 6 problems on your screen that we're going to go through in order to get this down. Now up top, I have a hint we need to remember as we go through these problems. So we're going to do the opposite or inverse operation of whatever is being done to the variable in order to get the variable by itself. Now, that may not make any sense at first, but as we go through these problems, you'll start to see what I mean by that. Again, main goal is getting the variable by itself. And just to reiterate, inverse means opposite. It means to do the opposite. So addition, the inverse would be subtraction. Multiplication, the inverse would be division. So let's jump right into number 1 here and see how we solve one-step equations. So for number 1, we have x minus 6. So we need to take a look at what we're doing to the variable x, our missing piece, and we're subtracting 6. So we need to do the opposite. So that would be adding 6. So we need to add 6 to that side. And the reason we do that, because we have x minus 6 plus 6, the minus 6 plus the 6 gives us 0, essentially canceling those 6's out. So we're just left with the x. That gives us the x by itself. Now, in order to keep that equation balanced, we have to do the same thing to both sides. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So we added 6 to the left, so we need to add 6 to the right. So 13 plus 6 gives us 19. So x equals 19. And we always double check to see if this makes sense and our answer for the variable is correct. So let's plug in 19 for our x here. 19 minus 6 equals 13. And that is true, it is correct. I'm even going to come to the side here, plug it in. 19 minus 6 equals 13. That is true, so we're good to go. We have the correct answer for what x equals. Let's take a look at number 2. We have k divided by 8 equals 2. So what are we doing to the variable k? Well, we're dividing by 8. So we need to do the opposite to that side to get rid of the dividing 8. So we need to multiply by 8. K divided by 8 times 8, well, those 8s would equal 0 or cancel out, so k is by itself. But whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other to keep everything balanced. So we get to the point where k is by itself. K equals, well, 2 times 8 is 16. K equals 16. Let's see if that's true. Let's plug in 16 for k. 16 divided by 8 equals 2. So k indeed does equal 16. Let's take a look at number 3. Now here we have the answer on the left-hand side and our variable on the right. That's okay. That happens in algebra sometimes. So we're adding 3 to g. So we need to do the opposite to that side to get g by itself. So we need to subtract 3, and we need to do it to both sides. So we get g equals 13. And I always like to rewrite with the variable first, g equals 13. And let's double check. Does 3 plus 13 equal 16? Yes, so we have the correct answer for the variable. Number 4, we have 15 equals 5m. Now a number right next to a variable or a letter means multiplication. So we're multiplying by 5 here. So the opposite of multiplying by 5 would be dividing by 5. That would give us our m by itself. And that I put it in fractional form, and fractions are division here. That means divide by 5. So do it to both sides. So we have the m by itself, and then 15 divided by 5 gives us 3. So m equals 3. Let's double check. 5 times 3 does equal 15, so we have the correct answer there. Number 5, we have 2r equals 22. So we're multiplying by 2. Again, number next to a letter means multiplication. So we need to divide both sides by 2. That gives us r by itself, and 22 divided by 2 equals 11. So r equals 11. Let's double check. 2 times 11 does equal 22, so we're good to go there. Number 6, 11 equals w divided by 4. So we're dividing by 4. The opposite would be multiplying by 4. So let's multiply by 4 to get w by itself, and then whatever we do to one side we need to do to the other in order to keep everything balanced. So we end up with an answer of 44 for the value of w. So w equals 44. And let's double check. 44 divided by 4 does equal 11, so we're good to go with number 6. So there you have it. There's how you solve one-step equations. Hopefully you found that helpful. Until next time, peace.
Okay. Let's try. We can look and see we have x divided by 3 is equal to 4. And so the opposite of dividing by 3 will be multiplying by 3. And remember, we must do it to both sides. So x divided by 3 times 3 is equal to 4 times 3, which leaves us, remember, inverse will give us 1. They will cancel out each other. So x is left on the left side, and 4 times 3 is 12. You can read. Solving equations is just a matter of undoing operations that are being done to the variable. In a simple equation, this may mean that we only have to undo one operation, as in the following example. Solve the following equation for x. We have x plus 3 is equal to 8, and the explanations are there for us to see. The x plus 3 equals to 8. The variable is x. What was done to x? 3 was added to x. So what should we do? The opposite, which means we must take away 3 from both sides. When we do that, we have x is equal to 5. Solve the following equations. Get your pencils and your pen ready and try these problems. And remember, when you're solving, remember we want to show that you're doing opposite operations. Now, do we have answers? What is your answer for number 1? Your answer for number 1, since we're doing inverse operations, then you should have, please check your work for number 1, m plus 15 minus 15 is equal to 25. Take away 15. Do you have that? 15, take away 15 will cancel out. And so we're left with m is equal to 10. Do you have that answer? Number 2, 50 is equal to h, take away 3. What should we do? Remember, we're trying to keep h by itself. And so we have h, take away 3. What should we do? The opposite or the inverse of take away 3 is plus 3. So add 3 to both sides, we get 50 plus 3 is equal to h. Take away 3 plus 3. What happens? 50 plus 3 is equal to 53. And negative 3 or take away 3 plus 3 will cancel out. So 53 is equal to h, and then we can put the h on the left side. Therefore, h is equal to 53. Number 3, 4D is equal to 144. 4D means what? Now, 4D, that 4, what is the name of the 4? It has a special name. That 4 is called the coefficient. And 4D means 4 multiplied by D. What is the inverse of multiplying by 4? The inverse of multiplying by 4 is 2 divided by 4. So divide both sides by 4. 4D divided by 4 is equal to 44 divided by 4. 4D will, the 4 will cancel out from 4D, and so we are left with D. D is equal to 36. 144 divided by 4 is equal to 36. Moving on. Number 4. X divided by 3 is equal to 18. What should we do to find for X? Since it's division and it's divided by 3, then we must do the opposite or the inverse, which is we multiply both sides by 3. The 3 will cancel out and X will be left by itself. And 18 divided by 3 is 6. So X is, since we're multiplying, the 3 will cancel out and 18 multiplied by 3 will give us what number? 54. So X is equal to 54. Last one, very simple. Number 5, S plus 2 is equal to 13. So what do? We take away 2 from both sides. So S plus 2 take away 2 is equal to 13. Take away 2. The 2 will cancel out. And so S is equal to 13. Take away 2, which will leave us with 11. S is equal to 11. Now, now we have a game here, very nice game. Okay, students can go ahead and play. Click it. Okay, solve the equation. Okay, do we have answers for number 1?
Try this one, student. Craig says 15.
Okay, yes, answer is 15. We have many of them answered.
Yes, we have a lot of 15 and 47.
All right.
It might be helpful to show them
The
why.
answer is 15.
Good job to all students that said 15.
Click on the soccer ball. Ask them to click on the soccer ball.
I get 81, some 71.
All
Good
right.
job to those that said 81.
All right, I'm clicking 81. Okay, so 81 was the correct answer. Let them see if they could click on the soccer ball.
Getting a lot of
Answers. So are they when? Okay.
So now we are going to say, for those that don't understand, we are going to say 65.5 subtract 1.23. 65.5 subtract 1.23. Which one is correct?
6.27.
64.27. So those of you that got 64.27, good job. So those of us that did not, I think our problem is subtracting decimals and place value. So we're gonna have to work on that.
Okay, could I move to the next slide?
Yes, you can. Walk me through it. Good job, Misha. It is subtraction. So to solve the equation, we have to do the inverse or the opposite operation. So what does that mean we have to do? We have to do addition, right? What are we adding? What are we going to have to add? I'm getting the answers. Good job, good job, good job, good job. So remember, it's identifying the given operation, then performing the inverse or the opposite operation to get to our final answer.
Clicking on the ball.
So if it's subtraction, then we add, yes, Najee. If it's addition, then we subtract. If it's multiplication, then we divide. If it is division, then we multiply.
And remind them too, I don't know if they can hear me.
They can hear you, Ms. Carlette.
Okay, if it's say you're adding 3, then when you subtract, you need to subtract 3 from both sides. If it's multiplication, say by 4, then the opposite of multiplying by 4 is dividing by 4. So then you divide both sides. Just pay close attention to the operations and we will get it. You
Good
need
job,
to get this done correctly because we are moving on to more challenging work. So
Yes,
you need to understand the steps, okay?
I'm getting a lot of n equals 0. Subtraction, 54 minus 54 equals 0. Good job. Good job, everyone.
Good job. Inverse operations will give us, when we use the inverse of the same number, we will always get 0.
Good job.
Okay, I think we'll do one last one.
Thank you for those of you showing the working. All right, most of the answers, I'm getting a dominant 163, A equals 163.
Very good, very good. So that is the correct answer. 163 is the correct answer. So
thank you for being engaged, and we're glad that you enjoyed the lesson despite the difficulties.
Welcome back, boys and girls, to our phonics lesson. Today, you are going to learn about Super E. The objectives for this lesson are: 1. You will recall long vowel sounds. 2. You will be able to identify long vowel words with silent E. And 3. You will be able to use long vowel words in sentences. Let's get started. Whoa, it's time for Super E. I'm sure you remember that when a word has one vowel, that word makes a short vowel sound. But if we add a Super E at the end of that word, it makes a brand new word. The first vowel has to say its name, and Super E is silent. This is what Super E does to a word. Let's start by sorting the words. Look at the words in the oval. We are going to sort them. We're going to put our long vowel words on the left and the short vowel words on the right. But to do this, we must remember the rules. When a word has one vowel, it is short and it makes a special sound. When a word has two vowels, the first one says its name and the second one is silent. Let's begin. The first word is can. Can. Is that a short vowel or a long vowel word? Well, it only has one vowel, so I think it's a short vowel word. Let's try the next word. How many vowels do I see? I see two. The first one says its name and the second one is silent. Can you sound that word out? Time. Time is a long vowel word. Good job so far. Let's go to the third one. How many vowels do you see? One. Tub. That is also a short vowel word. The next word has two vowels. So the A has to say its name and that E is silent. Tape. Because it has two vowels, it is a long vowel word. We have one more word to try. I see two vowels. This is a special word. It has a U that's going to say you or oo, and it has a special E at the end. Super E. Huge. That is also a long vowel word. So we just sorted these words out. We know the difference between a long vowel rule and the short vowel rule. This is going to help us as we move along. Come on, phonics superheroes. Are you ready to see if you can make Super E words? Well, let's go. Are you ready to practice using your Super E powers? Well, I know I am, so let's get started. First, we're going to look at the word on the left. It is a short vowel word. That means it only has one vowel and it makes a short vowel sound. Then, we're going to see what happens when Super E comes flying in, and it changes the word. Let's start with number one. Can you help me to decode it? Let's go. Cap, 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 C-A-P, cap. Now let's see what happens when Super E is added to the word. We now have two vowels. So the first one says its name and the second one, Super E, is silent. Let's try it. Ape, cape, C-A-P-E, cape. Batman wears a cape. Good job. Let's try it again with number two. The first word on the left has one vowel. So let's sound it out. It, kit. Now let's add Super E. The first vowel is an I, so it has to say its name, and Super E is going to be silent. Kite, kite. K-I-T-E, kite. I will fly my kite high in the sky. Good job so far. We made cap into cape, and we turned kit into kite. Let's try it one more time. Let's go to number 3. Not. Not. Not is a short O word. But what happens if we add super E? Now the O turns into a long O and says its name, and the E is silent. Note. Note. N-O-T-E. Note. Dad wrote Mom a love note. We have one more to do. Let's try this one. I see a short U in the word cub. Cub. C-U-B. Cub. Now, what are we going to add? You know it. Super E. Now that U is going to turn into a long U. And long U says U or oo. And the E is silent. Let's see if we can decode it. No, that's not the right sound. Try again. Remember, when a word has 2 vowels, the first one says its name and the second one is silent. Cube. Cube. Much better. C-U-B-E. Cube. I put an ice cube in my Kool-Aid. Cube. You did such a super job using your super E powers. Wowee! Now you're going to use your super E power to choose the correct word to finish the sentence. Remember, some of the words have 1 vowel, which means it makes a short vowel sound, but some of the words have 2 vowels. The first one says its name, and that super E is silent. If you keep that in mind, I'm sure you'll do a great job. Let's look at the first picture. Do you see Grandma? Do you see what's in her hand? Let's read the sentence now. Ma walks with a blank. Ma walks with a blank. Can you tell me what that is that helps Ma to walk? You're right, it's a cane. A cane. Cane. Which one of these words do you think is cane? Is it C-A-N or C-A-N-E? Let's sound them out. Cane. Remember, that's what we're looking for. The first word has 1 vowel, so that means it's a short A. Can. Can. C-A-N. Can. Okay, let's try the second one. I see 2 vowels, so that means the first A says its name, and that's super E at the end, so he's silent. Let's try it. Cane. Cane. I think you found the answer. C-A-N-E. Cane. Let's try number 2. I see the picture. Do you see the picture? Now let's read the sentence. The blank is in the sky. The blank is in the sky. Look closely at the words. We need a word that has a long A sound. Did you find it? Well, let's decode it and see which one you picked. The first word has 2 vowels, so that means the A says its name and the super E is silent. Let's sound it out. Plane. plain. But let's check the second one to be sure. The second one has one vowel, so that means the vowel is short and it makes a sound, a short vowel sound. Plan, plan. Which one did you pick? Did you pick the first one? P-L-A-N-E, plain? You're right. Super job. Okay, last one. I see the picture. Now this is a special type of tree. Let's read the sentence. That blank tree is so tall. That blank tree is so tall. Is it in pin or pine? Pine. Which one has the super E and has the long I sound? You got it! Pine. P-I-N-E. Wow, you really have super E powers. Everyone has been doing such an awesome job so far that I felt like I had to share this super E story with you. But I need you to use your listening ears. I'm going to read it for you. Twice. I want you to follow along with me and read it along with me. And the thing is, afterwards, I need you to put on your spy glasses and find all the super E words. Let's read it together first. Are you ready? Let's go. Mike and Pete are best friends. They like to play who can eat the most. Mike takes 9 bites of his cake. Pete ate a huge pile of grapes. It makes them smile when they find out who ate the most. Let's read it one more time, and remember, you are looking for super E words. That is long vowel words that have the silent E at the end. Let's read it again. Mike and Pete are best friends. They like to play who can eat the most. Mike takes 9 bites of his cake. Pete ate a huge pile of grapes. It makes them smile when they find out who ate the most. I hope you like the story. Now, here's the challenge. I'm going to give you 20 seconds for you to count all the super E words, all the long vowel words that have a silent E at the end. And at the end of the timer, you're going to tell me how many you found, and we're going to count them together. Are you ready? Go. Time's almost up. All right. Now let's see if you found them all. Wow. How many did you count? Did you find all 15 super E words? You are such a good player, and you're an awesome reader too. Great job, you guys. Okay, before you go, I have one last activity for you, and it's a bonus. It's called Awesome Words. You're going to see a number of super E words come up on your screen, and I want you to take your time and sound them out. Read them, and guess what? No matter where you are, no matter what book you're reading, no matter what you're doing, I want you to look for super E words this week and see how many you can count. See you next time.